Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. It's a new day. We thank the good Lord it's a new day. Thank God it is a new day. So good to see you. It's me, WJ, on our Channel 1 Life, many seasons. Got a little bit of a different look here. Anyway, today we got something interesting. We're going to be looking at this video. Someone has sent it over to me. I follow Anton Daniels, is someone I follow, and he had basically reacted to the ladies of The View, their perspective on President Trump's assassination attempt and what they have to say. And if you don't know anything about The View, you can check it out. But it's not a show. You should be ready for your blood to boil. But let's just get right into it. Listen to what he has to say about what they have to say, and then we'll put our comments in the comment section below. Let's go.
I think we all agree with Biden, right? And Trump said that he's rewriting his RNC speech to call for unity also. So they're both trying to lower the temperature. Is that even possible, ladies?
Well, first and foremost, I want to say thank God that the former president's okay. I applaud Secret Service. Listen, there's going to be some postmortems on what went wrong, but those who rushed the stage to make sure he was okay, because we're milliseconds and millimeters from a very different outcome and a very different conversation we'd be having in our country today. I think it's a moment for reflection on the tone and tenor of our politics. And one thing that is fundamentally American is the right to criticize policies. It is also our right to criticize the character of our politicians. But the way in which we do it matters. And we live in an era where escalatory rhetoric and saying the most damning and most inciting thing oftentimes is what's rewarded. And I think it's incumbent on all of us to just check how we engage. And then looking to the fact that we live in the era of information warfare. On our phones, there are algorithms that are pumping to us information every day meant to make us hate our fellow Americans. Our foreign adversaries are on our social media. They're putting information to validate our worst assumptions about fellow Americans. We can have different political viewpoints in this country, and we can still respect each other and respect each other's right to different opinions and come together as a country, because the way you defeat America, it's not with bombs, it's not with missiles, it's tearing us apart from within. If you care about democracy, listen more, say less.
I agree with her. This is probably the first time that I've heard anybody on The View that said something that sounds logical. I agree with her that the best way for you to be able to tear people apart is to conquer by dividing, right? And so she's absolutely right. Unfortunately for her, and unfortunately for a lot of us here in America, that ship is already sailed, and you're not going to be able to put that genie back into the bottle, because it's not just information warfare on one side, it's also information warfare that's not necessarily being advertised, because I believe that this president, or the former president Donald Trump, who presided over America from 2016 through 2020, is the most persecuted president of our lifetime.
I agree. I mean, if you know of any other president that has been persecuted more than President Trump, please let us know. I don't think anybody can disagree with that. I don't know anybody that can disagree with that, except they just want to disagree for the heck of disagreeing.
Bar none. The most persecuted political figure of our lifetime. See, we don't want to talk about election interference when it comes to the fact that they trumped up a whole bunch of charges, and they leveraged, or they tried to, and it didn't work. They leveraged their legislative branches and our judges in the different courts in the different states to try to even prevent him from being on the ballot in the first place. And so when the people then revolted, because a lot of times we want to talk about the rhetoric, but we don't want to talk about the response. But when the people revolted, then they wanted to act like it was only one way. No, just because you throw stones and hide your hands, but another side decide that they're a little bit more overt with it, doesn't mean that you wasn't throwing stones.
Yep.
So, I'm very happy Donald Trump is safe. Full stop, period. And I condemn all forms of political violence.
Notice how there's no applause is in the audience, because we already know who their target demographic is.
I'm simply heartbroken for the family of Corey Comparatori, a volunteer fire chief, a father, a husband who lost his life shielding his family simply for going to a political rally. And I was watching it live because I thought he was going to announce his VP that day. That was part of what was being said. And I immediately thought it was a shooting. And I was shocked and I was heartbroken because I fled political violence in Nicaragua. And to me, this is something that's not supposed to happen in America. I felt.
You know, what bothers me about this lady, I wish she would speak like this all the time. But she's a supporter of Biden, supporter of the open border system. So if you came from a third world country into America, why would you want the third world country system in America? You fled to get away from that, but yet you're a proponent of that same lifestyle here by opening the borders to illegals. I don't understand these people. They're playing too many games. I wish she would speak this way all the time, but we know that's not the case. They're playing games.
The same way when I did watching January 6th, these attacks on democracy, on America, don't happen in this country. They happen in other places. And I'm very happy for President Biden. I'm very happy that he's taken the opportunity to be on air now 3 times, asking us to call on our better angels, asking us to unite, asking us to tamp down the rhetoric. I'm going to try to heed his words. Today is a day, I think, and this entire time for self-reflection and a call to unity. I truly hope Donald Trump uses the platform he has to do that. And I also need to say, I hope that at some point in this country, we do have a conversation about what is happening, because we can't just react when it is our side. What was this again? It was, a 20-year-old lone wolf, white, whack job with easy access to a gun. And we have to have a conversation about that, because it was.
Nah, you're not taking away my guns, big dog. The only reason why we have civilization in the way that it is and that we're able to protect ourselves is because if you go over to Oakland, it's a free-for-all. If you go to Chicago, it's a free-for-all. If you go to New York, it's a free-for-all. And so ain't no way in the world that you're going to take my ability to be able to protect ourselves at all. And I know that they want to try to, remove the guns out of the hands of the people, but it's not the people that really, honestly, you can take this one situation, it don't have nothing to do with gun control. And they always going to try to leverage the conversation in order to push through an agenda and spark a different type of conversation that's irrelevant. The fact of the matter is, I believe that this was an inside job, and it was a lack of insight, a lack of truly doing their job from the Secret Service, and the lapse that came along with it that ultimately got Donald Trump ear pierced and this assassination attempt in the first place. It never should have happened. Don't have nothing to do with gun control. Don't have nothing to do with easy access to guns or anything like that. This had everything to do with the Secret Service failing at what they were supposed to do. And the fact of the matter is Donald Trump had been, and his team and his administration, been asking for more Secret Service protection.
That's true.
And had been denied by Mayorkas, which is supposed to be the same person that oversees our borders and Homeland Security. That's the facts.
Just to add to what Anton just said right now, I think with the Secret Service, that should be where we even start the whole conversation. What happened? In my opinion, they all need to be investigated. And knowing fully well that they were actually trying to take away President Trump's Secret Service at one point. I think there was some type of a conversation that was going on. They were trying to strip him off that completely, off protection. This is how nasty these people are. And then when it comes to guns, here's my own personal proposal. Before you try to take the guns away from the regular people, please take away the guns from all the criminals first. As long as the criminals have guns and you can validate that, you telling us you can validate all the criminals that have guns, then don't talk about taking people's guns away from them. How else are they supposed to protect themselves? Especially in Biden's America, where crime rate is so high. I actually do think that more criminals have access to guns than the regular people. So before you take away the guns from the regular people, Please take away all the guns and let us know that you've done your validations, that all the guns have been taken away from all the criminals. I know that sounds like an impossible, monumental task. That's the same reason why you can't take guns away from the regular people. How else are people supposed to protect themselves?
A drag queen. It wasn't an immigrant. It wasn't a pissed off liberal woman. This keeps happening. And we need to react, not as left or right, not as Republicans or Democrats. We need to react as Americans.
All right.
And we need to ask better.
Okay, I just want to add that.
Well, let that start from you. We need. Let it start from you. Let every person start from themselves. We need. I wish they would talk like this all the time, but this is just a totally nasty show. Honestly, every time I watch The View, my blood just boils. I don't know. I really don't watch it, except someone gives just like Anton, he's doing right now, giving his own analysis. Other than that, I really can't sit and watch it because I'm just angered when I watch the show. I don't think any normal person would really enjoy this show. It's just a bunch of nasty, mean-spirited people.
That the shooter, yes, it was a 20-year-old kitchen worker from nearby Bethel Park in Pennsylvania. According to a CNN report, a senior law enforcement official
A CNN report, right?
said that he bought 50 rounds of ammunition from a local gun store hours before the rally. Shouldn't that have been reported? Somebody buys a 20-year-old white guy? I mean, we've seen that many.
And this is why I say a lot of times that white men a lot of times have now become public enemy number one. And that if you are a white man that then does something that they think doesn't make sense or you fit the narrative or the stereotype, automatically they saying, hey, a 20-year-old white guy went out and bought a bunch of ammunition.
Many times now, young white men with guns, and nobody reported that he bought 50 rounds of ammunition?
Well, there's also a post-mortem, as Alyssa said, is really needed, because if you look at the layout of this speech, there was one building that they had not checked at all, which seems like a very blatant oversight of some form. So I know those meetings will be had. When you mentioned this seems of another place, like this doesn't happen in America, I feel like this seems like another time, because most of us have only read about assassinations or attempts in history.
I was there.
Well, okay.
For
I
all
was
of
going to
them,
let you go
including
with
Lincoln.
my age reference too, but I mean, you read about them, kind of like the 60s were rife with these sorts of things.
It was a terrible time in America. To say that this doesn't happen in America is false.
No, but I mean,
it happened, and it happened in your lifetimes to Reagan.
Yes.
And Gerald Ford there were attempted attacks on his life. I was there when Martin
all
Luther
of these
King was
examples
shot.
you're having are very long
Martin Luther King was shot. Jesus Christ.
time ago. That
No, but Sarah, just in the last 7 years, Steve Scalise,
I know.
January
Can I
6th,
just
Mike
finish my
Pence.
point? There's a lot of
Pelosi.
political violence. I recognize
Gabby
that, Nick.
Gifford.
And I think the fact that President Biden came out and did exactly what he should. First of all, he referenced he had spoken with the former president. He referenced the victims of this. And then he had a very unifying message about we are all the same in recognizing that political violence has no place in this country. I also think there'll be a unique example not only to self-reflect.
We are all the same. How come that's not the tone all year round? Why do we need this types of events for us to start thinking like humans? Why does it have to get to this types of things? I remember the World Trade Center. I was in New York at that time as well, too. Why? And all the churches and everybody, you couldn't tell what race was different from another race. Everybody, we all saw each other as one. Why does it have to take this types of events for us to see each other as one? Why? We all only have one life individually. And there's no replacement for it. So why do we act like we got multiple lives? If I lose this, I could just pick this other one. But why does he have to take this types of events for us to have some common sense and treat your fellow men, our fellow men, as humans?
But we already heard that President Trump has changed his remarks at the RNC to have a more unifying tone. Stranger things have happened. People that have.
Of course, you're going to change your remarks. You got to address the situation because you just got your ear shot. Of course, you're going to change your remarks. All of this is coming, especially from the older woman that's on the left. All of this is coming from people that literally listed Trump or labeled Trump and compared him to Hitler. And now they want to sit here and switch up they tone and switch up their message to act like we're supposed to have more of a unified message. Come on, man, keep that same energy. First, take responsibility for your role in it and using your platform to create this type of visibility in the first place.
Absolutely.
Had illnesses or near-death experiences, sometimes that can be a wake-up call to change things. So I really hope this is a lasting.
Sonny, we'll come back to you when we come back after the commercial. I just want to say, though, that this shooter, he was a registered Republican. He also...
Pushing another narrative. We already know, listen, here's a finesse. For those of y'all that's not familiar, if you've ever been to a political rally, a lot of these candidates will advocate for whatever side that you want. So let's say that you're a Democrat, or let's just say you're a Republican, right? And they'll say, hey, register as a Democrat to then try to influence what's happening in the primaries on one side that you don't agree with so that we can have more of a control of who it is that we're running against. And it doesn't matter what you registered as, it matters where you put your money at. And this dude had never voted before, but then he donated to a left-leaning organization. And we know that he tried to take out the president of the United States, the former president of the United States, and soon to be the next president of the United States of America. So that goes without saying. So they throw these little stupid shots in there to try to influence you, to try to continue to have these stupid conspiracy theories and try to discount the severity of the incident. But the reality is that we know why this type of stuff happens and what really goes on.
So donated $15 to Act Blue in 2021, which is an odd thing, but he was a Republican.
Say that it was Act Blue is a left-leaning organization. Don't then say, but he was a Republican. No, tell the whole story and tell it in its entirety so that we can get the full context. This is why it's so disingenuous.
Look,
just real quick, like, what does it matter? Whether you're a Republican, you're a Democrat, you're black, you're white, you're Hispanic, you're Chinese, you try to kill somebody. What does it matter? We all bleed red anyway. So I'm not even sure what difference that makes. If he's a Republican, I used to be a registered Democrat. Now I'm an independent. You can switch anytime. You can do whatever you want. And because I registered as one party, doesn't mean I have to follow what the party's doing. So I'm not really sure. We're talking about someone's life here, President Trump's life. I only just wonder what the country would be doing today had the worst happened on Saturday, a few days ago. It wouldn't matter if it was a Republican or a Democrat. What would it matter? The worst would have happened. I'm just grateful. Thank God kept him safe, and we're still here today. So I don't understand. That's what I'm saying about this lady on The View. They say one thing, acting the other. You know, they could try and change all they want and try to act like they, trying to, empathize or sympathize with, or try to. They are who they are.
I think Biden's Oval Office address should be a guide to all of us. I think
this is the worst of them all.
And I'm going to follow his lead. And when
I can't do it no more. I can't. Because even in this, they try to continue to spin a narrative to be something that it's not. And I'm just not going for it.
Anton,
it doesn't resonate with
anymore.
me. I'm not rocking with it. I don't agree with what's going on. And even in a situation where Trump was the one that literally had the assassination attempt on his life, they still trying to spin it and make it something else and make it about Biden.
There you have it, man. If you don't know Anton Daniels, please go follow him. He if you don't want the honest truth, I just tell you be mindful because he's a straight shooter. Okay, so if you don't like to hear the truth, you may not want to check it out, but if you do, go check him out. There you have it. The ladies of The View. They give their views about Trump's assassination attempt. What do you think? In my opinion, I don't know what they're saying. They're just making it worse. They're trying to, one side trying to act like they're nice, but the other side, we can see that's not the case. But the truth always will prevail. Always remember that. The truth will always prevail. Truth always will prevail. Thanks for stopping by. Good to see you again. It's me, WJ, on our channel, One Life, Many Seasons. But coming back with more pieces. You know how we like to close this out? We just like to remind ourselves that we're doing this to have fun in a healthy fashion as we spread positivity into this chaotic world. And more importantly, we just like to remind ourselves that we remember, always remember, we got one life with many seasons. So let's make the best of it. God bless you, and I'll see you soon. You take care now. Bye-bye.